Hi, I'm Stephen, and I'm giving a day-by-day review of the conference I'm at the Growing Young Disciples Conference. I've uploaded, I think it's 3 others already this week. I'm on day 3, and as part 1, I went to 2 seminars this morning. The main talk in the morning by Graham Daniels, followed by a stream on youth evangelism by Ken Moser. Both are very much on youth evangelism or evangelism in general, and been so helpful in seeing how we should be doing things. And I'll start with Graham Daniels. He's been brilliant, absolutely hilarious guy from Wales. Talks about his mate Guion nearly every 10 minutes, but wonderful to listen to. And this morning he unpacked Matthew 10 to us, where Jesus sends out the 12 and he gives them instructions. And the main thing, the 3 things that Graham says that we need, that teaches us about evangelism and how we should go about it. Basically, the first one is to just say something, tell them about God, and to be normal about it. The idea of if you're seeing a friend and you ask them a simple question of like, "Oh, how was your weekend?" and they say, "Well, I went to see family," and all that kind of stuff. And maybe 1 out of the 10 times you ask that, they all might reply and they say to you, "Oh, how did your weekend get on?" And you say, "Well, obviously Saturday I spent some time with family or whatever, and then Sunday I obviously had church and there was a talk and it spoke about bloody blah, and it was wonderful. It was really good. Do you have a good church?" "Oh, no, not really." "Cool. Did you watch the game the other day?" Like, moving on, just being normal about it. And I think one of the things I always remember from this conference is that something they really do push is making evangelism, sharing the gospel as normal as possible, and not to make it super spiritual, like we have to really think about it, but actually be a natural part of our lives, and something I do struggle with when I get home after I think about it. The other thing is just go and say something and be normal about it. Be vulnerable was the second one. Open up your homes. That's part of the normality thing. Be caring, be kind to people. To say that you're a Christian, start off saying, "Yeah, I'm a Christian," but so they can analyze, they can see that your behavior is connected to your Christianity somehow, and that's a good positive thing. To be kind, to be vulnerable. And the third thing is do not negotiate. The whole sandals thing at the end of in Matthew 10, where they said, "Oh, if they don't accept you, just dust off your sandals, move on." It's not a negotiable thing. The gospel is not a negotiable thing. We'll apparently tomorrow we're going to unpack about how you handle that when you actually do need to potentially move on there with someone. But it was very interesting to hear that the gospel is not a negotiable thing. You can't try and package it a different way and not tell them the whole thing or just hide it from them, and just be honest, be normal, say something. And that was really challenging to me today. Then moving on to Ken Moser. Now, if you listened to my part 1 or watched my part 1 yesterday, you saw that I was being a bit challenged about the strategies that I use at PCF and everything, and this was no different. They carried on that model. And he was saying that in most youth evangelism, try and get 70 to 90% of the youth group that we have on our weekend or whatever to be non-Christian. They're the people that we're reaching out to, and then a small 30% would be the Christians there. And he said, we got to flip that on its head. No, we need to have youth groups that are 70 to 90% Christian, and have a few that aren't, and have the majority that way, and actually pull them in. He used this iceberg illustration, which made me think about my Tuesday group. I obviously, if you know what I do at PCF, we have a Youth Plus group that I love, I adore. I'd say that probably 2/3 of them are Christians, or at least professing some form of faith, and probably meets his expectations the most. But he was talking about how the groups run and how they make them exciting, and something that the group feels they can invite their friends to. And I did think about, in September, things are going to be changing a lot in my life, and And Tuesdays may not be really the best place to have at my house. Obviously, the group is growing as well. We'll have some more year sixes, and so I'm hoping that we might be able to move it to the Lagland Street. Now, if it happens there, I don't think a Bible study model is perhaps the best one. Perhaps best is to have a talk there, and have basically our own service style in the way that Acts 2 talks about: eat together, have communion together, worship together, pray for each other, have open up the word and talk about it, discuss it afterwards, and have our own meeting where we do it as young people, or as I lead young people, and that would be genuinely quite an exciting thing to do. So I watch that space. I don't know what's going to happen in September, but that is definitely one idea that I've really got from it. And if that is one thing I get from this conference about how I might engage better on the kind of the midweek stuff, I think that's a good thing in questioning that, because some days I think that's generally quite safe. He speaks about how the youth can be in the meeting. If you've got a good speaker, if you think they're accessible for an adult, they should be accessible for a youth, and I think I completely agree. I think when he's talking about that, I think he's majorly talking about 14 plus. I think under that, I think he's probably thinking more children's ministry, and I think that he'd agree that children's ministry probably should still have its own area. But I like the idea of an 11 to 18 group on a Tuesday, which is kind of a meeting for young people. I'm quite excited about that, quite excited to see how that might develop. So yeah, lots to thank God for this morning. I can have a bit of rest this afternoon. I'm not going to play football. I'm aching from yesterday. Tonight I've got Trevor Archer again, and he's going to be unpacking Romans 8, I believe, and that's a wonderful passage about the Holy Spirit and how it works in us, and I'm very excited about hearing what he has to say on that. So I'll hopefully have that uploaded either tonight, which would be counter to all the other ones I've done, or more likely tomorrow morning. And I'm driving soon after leaving the meeting tomorrow morning, so I probably won't upload anything until Friday, but I don't think anyone's watching this anyway, so or you're watching this and it's weeks after. But I'm having a great time, and I will see you soon.